The true secret of the Underworld Gate. Have you ever wondered if death is not the end, but a doorway to an unknown world? Throughout human history, countless civilizations have described a mysterious realm, the Underworld. The ancient Egyptians called it Duat, the Greeks knew it as Hades, and Tibetan Buddhism's Bardo Thodol details every stage a soul passes through. These ancient teachings seem to hint at one thing. Between us and another world, there is only a hidden door. But does this door only open after death? You may have heard of near-death experiences. People who, at the moment their soul leaves their body, see a dark tunnel with a blinding white light at the end. Others, through extreme meditation, out-of-body experiences, or even ancient rituals, claim to have entered a realm beyond words. They've seen lost loved ones, heard whispers from unknown beings, and even felt a presence that transcends time and space. But here's the real question. If the Underworld truly exists, is it an objective reality, or just an illusion created by the human mind? Why do myths and legends across different cultures tell such eerily similar stories? And more importantly, is there a way for the living to access this hidden realm? Today, we're diving deep into long-lost ancient wisdom to uncover the true secret of the Underworld Gate, where its entrance lies, what laws govern it, and whether it's a curse upon the living or a key to higher knowledge. The truth may be more shocking than you ever imagined. History and philosophy. Ancient wisdom on the gateway to the Underworld in human belief systems. The Underworld isn't just a final resting place. It's a bridge between life and death. From the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh to the Egyptian Book of the Dead and the Greek myth of the river Styx, nearly every ancient civilization, across different eras and cultures, describes a strikingly similar concept. When the soul leaves the body, it must pass through a gateway to reach another world. But why do these ancient cultures share such uncanny similarities in their descriptions? Egypt. The journey of the soul. In ancient Egypt, the dead had to face the judgment of Osiris, where their heart was placed on a scale against Ma'at's feather of truth. If the heart was heavier than the feather, the soul would be devoured by the monstrous Ammit, erased from existence. But if they passed the test, they could enter the field of reeds, a dreamlike paradise of abundance and eternal life. Before reaching paradise, however, the dead had to pass through a series of mystical gates, each guarded by a challenge or riddle. Could these gates symbolize a real pathway to the Underworld? Were they mere metaphors, or did they point to a deeper reality hidden in plain sight? Greece. The crossing into Hades. In Greek mythology, souls had to cross the river Styx to enter the Underworld, ferried by Charon, who only accepted payment in coins. Hence the Greek tradition of placing a coin in the mouth of the dead. But here's where things get interesting. Many esoteric scholars believe that this river crossing isn't just a myth. Some see it as a symbol for out-of-body experiences, while others suggest it represents an actual dimensional transition. Even more intriguing, many who've entered deep meditative states or taken hallucinogens report eerily similar experiences. A long, dark tunnel, a boat gliding through shifting lights and shadows, and an invisible guide leading the way. Are these mere hallucinations, or could they be glimpses into something real, something that transcends life and death? Eastern wisdom. The secrets of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Unlike the Western concept of an underworld journey, Tibetan Buddhism's Bardo Thodol, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, provides an incredibly detailed roadmap of what happens after death. It describes the 49-day journey of the soul through different states, encountering visions, trials, and ultimately, determining its next existence. But here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just for the dead. It's also a manual for the living. Advanced practitioners use special meditation techniques to experience these states before death, allowing them to access the Bardo realm, communicate with the deceased, or even attain higher knowledge. If this is true, then does that mean the gateway to the Underworld isn't just for the dead, but can actually be opened, explored, and even controlled? The forgotten secret. Why was this knowledge suppressed? Looking back through history, it becomes clear that any knowledge of the Underworld gateway was either hidden, distorted, or outright erased. Medieval religious institutions persecuted alchemists and mystics. Esoteric texts were either passed down in secrecy or lost to time. Modern science dismisses near-death experiences and astral projection as hallucinations caused by oxygen deprivation or neural misfires. reducing them to mere brain-generated illusions. But does that really mean these experiences aren't real? Or could it be that this knowledge is so powerful, so paradigm-shifting, that it had to be suppressed? If the gateway to the underworld truly exists, how do we find it? And more importantly, how do we open it? Core Analysis. Part 1. How the underworld gateways really work. When we talk about the gateway to the underworld, most people immediately think of myths, legends, or even horror stories. But what if I told you these gateways aren't just fantasies? They might actually be real, tangible pathways beyond physical reality. More importantly, what if they aren't only accessible after death? There are countless cases worldwide suggesting that these gateways may open under specific conditions, not just for the dead, but for the living. Near-death experiences, out-of-body journeys, shamanic rituals, supernatural encounters. Could these seemingly unrelated phenomena all be pointing to the same truth? Could it be that the gates of the underworld have been open all along? Gateway number 1. Near-death experiences, NDE, and out-of-body experiences, OBE. Scientists have long tried to explain near-death experiences, NDEs, through biology and neuroscience. In extreme situations, such as cardiac arrest, accidents, or states of clinical death, many people report eerily similar experiences. A long, dark tunnel leading to an intensely bright light, a sensation of leaving their body, floating above and watching doctors try to revive them, a mysterious presence or voice guiding them toward another realm, where they meet deceased loved ones or spiritual beings. Modern science dismisses these as hallucinations caused by oxygen deprivation or brain activity at the point of death. But here's the problem. Why do people from different cultures, time periods, and backgrounds describe the exact same experience? Even more compelling, many NDE survivors return with knowledge they shouldn't have, describing real events that happened while they were clinically unconscious, such as conversations between doctors or details of objects in the room they couldn't have physically seen. Could this mean that when the body nears death, some kind of soul mechanism activates, allowing us to step into another dimension? And if that's the case, is it possible to access this realm without dying? Gateway number 2. Shamans and spirit communicators. Unlike near-death experiences, where people accidentally enter another realm, many shamans and spiritual practitioners throughout history have claimed to access the underworld intentionally. In Native American traditions, shamans use hallucinogenic plants like peyote or ayahuasca to enter a trance state, where they claim to communicate with spirits and travel between worlds. In Siberia, shamans practice extreme fasting, meditation, and rhythmic drumming to guide their souls into the lower world, where they seek wisdom from the dead or retrieve lost knowledge. In ancient Egypt, the Book of the Dead describes 12 gates that the soul must pass through. Interestingly, modern spiritual practitioners report seeing similar multidimensional gateways during deep meditation or out-of-body experiences. If this is all just superstition, then why do cultures across the globe, who had no contact with each other, describe nearly identical spiritual journeys? Even more astonishing, some modern-day individuals, not just trained shamans, but ordinary people, have accidentally triggered these experiences through deep meditation, emotional distress, or seemingly random events. Gateway number 3. Accidental encounters in the modern world. Some people, in moments of intense emotional states, altered consciousness, or even sleep, claim to have stumbled into another realm. Case study number 1. A grieving woman's glimpse into the underworld. A Japanese woman, overwhelmed by grief at her grandmother's funeral, fainted. When she woke up, she described entering a gray world, filled with shadows and whispers. She even saw her deceased grandmother, who told her, "It's not your time yet." Her family later told her she had only been unconscious for a few minutes, but to her, it felt like hours had passed. Case study number 2. A researcher's accidental journey. A European scientist, experimenting with deep meditation, suddenly found himself standing before an ancient bridge covered in mist. He sensed that if he crossed it, he wouldn't be able to return. Terrified, he forced himself to wake up, only to realize he had been in meditation for over 3 hours. Case study number 3. The dead revealing hidden secrets. Some NDE survivors return with accurate knowledge of things they had no possible way of knowing, such as deceased family members revealing where they had hidden valuable objects, which were later found exactly as described. What does this mean? These cases suggest something astonishing. The gateway to the underworld isn't just a myth. It might be a real and accessible phenomenon. Certain states of consciousness, whether intentional, meditation, rituals, or accidental, grief, trauma, dreams, seem to trigger the opening of these gateways. If these experiences were purely hallucinations, why do they match so closely across different cultures and time periods? But the biggest question remains. If these gateways truly exist, how do they work? Are they just projections of the mind? Or do they lead to a real, independent dimension? And more importantly, is there a safe way to enter and return? The hidden meaning of underworld portals and interpretations from different traditions. We've explored various forms of underworld portals, but the real question is, what do these portals truly represent? Are they just illusions created by the human mind, or do they reflect a deeper universal law? More importantly, why can some people access them while others cannot? In this section, we'll dive into how different mystical traditions, religious teachings, and spiritual practices interpret the true nature of these portals. Ancient mysticism, layers of the afterlife and multidimensional realities. In most ancient civilizations, the underworld wasn't seen as a single land of the dead, but rather a complex, layered realm. Strikingly similar descriptions appear across multiple ancient texts. Ancient Egypt. The Book of the Dead describes a soul's journey through 12 gates, each guarded by a keeper. Only those who answer correctly can pass. Ancient Greece. The underworld was divided into 3 realms: Tartarus, a place of punishment; Asphodel Meadows, a neutral resting place; and Elysium, paradise for heroes and the virtuous. Hinduism and Buddhism. The concept of multiple planes of existence, from lower hell realms to human existence and divine realms, culminating in the state of nirvana. Do these descriptions suggest that the afterlife isn't a final destination, but a multidimensional space? Even modern near-death experience, NDE, reports show people entering vastly different realms. Some describe encountering warm, loving light, while others report cold, chaotic voids. Could this mean that what we experience in the afterlife depends on our consciousness, beliefs, or even energetic frequency? 2. Different mystical interpretations of the underworld portal. Various esoteric traditions hold different perspectives on underworld portals, yet they all converge on one idea. The portals exist, and they can be accessed under certain conditions. Kabbalah and the soul's journey. In Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, existence is structured through multiple realms, from the physical world, Maketh, to the divine, Kether. A hidden gateway known as Dadh exists within the tree of life, serving as a secret access point to higher knowledge. Key ideas. Not everyone can enter these realms. Only those with a certain level of spiritual awareness. The soul's journey is not only about the afterlife. It can be accessed through deep meditation, rituals, or divine revelations. Practitioners report reaching states beyond time and space, where they receive profound wisdom. If the Kabbalistic model is correct, these portals may not just lead to the dead, they may be doorways to higher consciousness. Astral projection and Western esotericism. In Western occult traditions, Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, Theosophy, underworld portals are closely linked to astral projection, the ability to leave the physical body and travel through different planes. The human body has multiple layers: the physical body, the astral body, and the mental body. When the soul detaches, it enters the astral realm, where both living dreams and spirits of the dead coexist. Warning: some practitioners caution that these portals are not always safe. Those with lower vibrational energy may end up in darker regions or attract malevolent non-human entities. Could this mean that ancient hell concepts are actually lower vibrational underworld dimensions? And if someone enters them, could they become trapped, unable to return? C. Modern science and quantum physics implications. While mainstream science remains skeptical, some cutting-edge physics theories align eerily with mystical ideas. Quantum entanglement. If two particles can influence each other across vast distances, could consciousness also transcend physical boundaries? Many worlds theory. Physicist Hugh Everett proposed that every decision creates alternate realities. Could these underworld portals be temporary access points to parallel dimensions? Consciousness fields. Researchers like Stanislav Grof have found that in extreme states of consciousness, people report entering other worlds, descriptions that match ancient underworld accounts. If consciousness is not confined to the brain, is it possible that some people's souls can temporarily cross into these other dimensional realms? If so, are these underworld portals actually gateways to higher dimensions rather than just a realm for the dead? 3. Why has this knowledge been hidden? From ancient religious orders to modern science, knowledge of underworld portals has often been concealed, distorted, or erased. In the Middle Ages, the Church strictly forbade sorcery related to the afterlife, and many alchemists researching out-of-body experiences were executed for heresy. In modern science, institutions largely ignore studies on NDEs and astral projection, despite thousands of documented cases. Secret societies like the Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and Kabbalists have guarded knowledge of how to safely enter the underworld for centuries. Why? Could it be that underworld portals unlock a power that changes human consciousness? If people gained access to higher dimensions, would this threaten the control systems of organized religion and governments? Or worse, could the very existence of these portals be a long-buried secret? The unsolved mystery. How to safely enter the underworld. If underworld portals truly exist, can they be accessed without danger? Final thoughts. Are you ready to cross the gate? The true secret of the underworld gateway isn't just about the afterlife. It's about how consciousness transcends life and death. Some have glimpsed it through dreams. Others have wandered its paths through astral travel. A few have dared to open it through rituals. But the real question is, are you ready to face what lies beyond? Backhand index pointing right. Have you ever experienced the underworld gateway? Share your story in the comments.